Well, casting their expert eyes over the squad and indeed looking ahead to what you can expect if you're lucky enough to be travelling to France, our former soccer pro and current Waterford manager Roddy Collins, ex-Irish international and current Shelbourne player Stephen Elliott, and travel writer Owen Corry. Evening, lads. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
How are you?
Roddy, if I could start with you. Martin's made his 23-man squad choice with your manager's hat on. Has he got it right?
Well, it's not hard to pick the squad because we were just talking earlier, it could nearly pick itself. So there was no real big surprise. I mean, there's always debates and there's always discussions on maybe, the goalkeeper situation with forward, but a lot of it you can look at could be sentiment. And there is no sentiment.
It's quite controversial picking Kieran Westwood over, given the player experience.
Well, I wouldn't call that controversial. I mean, the lads played right up until the other day in a game that was going to, possibly get them into the Premier League. So he's in form. He's played well all season, and he's good backup to Randolph, who I think is in pole position at the minute. And then also you've got Shay Given, who abundance of experience that maybe need in a certain game somewhere.
And Aidan McGeady?
Well, Aidan, for me, I say there's no sentiment in the game, but obviously when Martin sees something in a player, he sticks with him. And Aidan, for me, hasn't done it for Ireland over a long period of time, to be quite honest with you. So in any squad, I struggle to put Aidan, and in any team, I struggle to put Aidan in. But obviously, Martin sees it different, and he's the one that got us there.
This is true. Stephen, as a player, just how hard is it when you don't get that call, though?
I'm sure the lads are disappointed that haven't been involved in that, and obviously looking at Ford coming on in the game last night, looking from the outside in, it looked like he was going to be picked to go over there, but obviously Martin had probably made up his mind before the game and decided to give him a little run out.
Judging by last night's performance, though, there's a little bit of work to do. What do you reckon?
I think so, yeah, but I don't think you can take too much into last night's game. It was an experimental team, and I think the team that will start the game against Sweden will look a lot different.
Look, we'll look at the venues, because hopefully there'll be a lot of fans travelling. Owen Corry, you're expert at this kind of thing, but do you think fans will travel?
Absolutely, huge numbers, and there's really two matches they'll get to. The Messi match, Lorraine, is in between. It's Bordeaux. It's a small stadium, 33,000.
Yeah, that's Belgium.
Way down. It's a long way down. It's €77 in tolls alone to get down to Bordeaux if you're driving, each way. And it's got very few hotel beds. So that is the one that Irish fans have had most difficulty with. If you got a distance out of Bordeaux, you can actually get accommodation. But the Sweden match is going to be terrific. It's huge. We will probably see what we saw in Giant Stadium.
Well, that's in Paris, though. That's the one piece people are possibly going to look at and say, look, we're just not going to go there.
Okay. Paris is good at security. I mean, they've had lots and lots and lots of months of unravelling what happened in November, and they've had attacks down the years before. They're very good at handling large crowd security. It's a good place to be. It's one of the safest venues you could pick.
And then the Italy game on June 22nd.
That's in Lille. That's very close to Paris. The questions that Irish fans are facing, and really terror is way down that list. Security is going to be tight. Their big questions are hotels, accommodation. There's loads of that around Paris, and Lille is close. And the other big one is French air traffic control. It's a big, a lot of people, to avoid the exorbitant hotel prices, decided to take packages where they fly in and out of the day. If we see what's going on this weekend happening with the French air traffic control, it's going to play havoc with the Irish fans. That's the real threat to Irish fans and to the fans of 24 other countries. Well, the likes of Iceland qualifying for the first time.
Yeah.
1/3 of the population are likely to turn up in France looking
Look, we know how important it is to the players, the support from the fans. I mean, what happens if the fans just don't travel, Stephen?
I don't know. Obviously, it's been highlighted, kind of the threats and all that there at the moment, but I think the Irish fans, when they travel in their numbers, I don't think there's many better fans out there. Like, the atmosphere we can create in these games can sometimes lift the players to help us get big results.
Yeah, last minute, do you think the credit union loans will be pulled out, Roddy?
Oh, absolutely. But we know from previous tournaments that people find money from various places, and fellas go out for bottles of milk and they come back 3 weeks later, and then the divorce rate goes up, and the birth rate goes up.
Every now and again, a woman might go over as well, Roddy.
Oh no, you're right. And there are more women travelling now, but like just getting back to Owen, I think the tickets is the biggest thing. You know, the tickets, people getting match tickets, but look, the Irish will travel. I mean, there's a huge population.
We travelled to Belgrade when in the middle of that Serbian war in big numbers. We flew in and we travelled to Iran. I mean, the Irish fans, they don't consider, they're not scared. No, they are one of the countries that has least, because of our own history of 30 years, we were very happy to see rugby teams come to Dublin and applauded them when they came onto the field, or when teams that were being told by their own governments and media not to go, they would show up. We've always appreciated that. The next generation doesn't know anything about that, but they still will travel to trouble zones.
They don't know they have it made. Stephen, we saw they were very happy and content looking team there training in Fota today, but there's another month to go. We know what can happen pre-tournament. There was a bit of tension there in 2012. How do they keep the players happy?
I think obviously there's a few weeks to go now before the games start, but I think now they've finalised the squad. I think the players will kind of get together, and they'll obviously have to keep them kind of busy away from the training pitch as well, because they're a long time together, and you don't want the lads kind of getting bored, like feeling like that cabin fever feeling. So I'm sure the coaching staff there will be experienced enough to kind of help that go smoothly enough.
I suppose injury worries as well, Roddy, the main concerns. There's a lot of pressure on Robbie Keane at the moment as well. So who else is a worry? Well,
there's pressure on Robbie Keane, but like they brought him, they must have got medical reports that he's going to be fine when the time comes around. I mean, he has been playing regular in America, and I mean, he's old enough now not to be dependent on it to run around all over the place. He's cute enough as well. But you're just getting back to the squad being happy. Just keep Roy Keane happy. That's all.
Is that possible?
Just keep one man happy. Of course it is. Of course it is. But getting back to his quotes earlier about, you know, how simple the game is, talking to Steve before we come out, give 100%. That's all he expects of everybody, and he done it, and he expects the same of everybody else, and that's all they got to do.
He just makes it sound so simple there,
simple.
But you say, yes, it's common sense sometimes.
Well, the fundamentals of football, he just nailed it there. He said, you know, when you have the ball, pass it to your mate, and when you haven't got it, run and get it back. It's simple.
It's jumper for goal post stuff, isn't it? Really, it's back to basics.
There you go.
Are you going to make some calls then on what might be the tough matches in our group?
I think you've got to take every game. I think everybody's talking about what is going to be the hardest game out of the 3 group games, but I think you look at the Swedish game, and I'd like to think they're kind of worried about us. Like, we've got an informed striker in Shane Long who's flying at the moment. He's been in the goals in the Premier League, and the way his game is, I think the Swedish centre halves will be just as worried about him and other players that we have than we are about them.
And
if you can't qualify for when 3 teams probably will come out of the group and 1 win will get you shouldn't be there if you're not thinking of moving on. And that's when we'll see the tickets, and that's when we'll see hotel beds, and that's when we'll see the fans travelling and the camper vans going down, because we'll end up probably in Lyon, probably in Nice. We'll get a good tour of France, and there is a history of the Euros of a team springing a surprise. Greece did it, Denmark did it, so it's not beyond the bound of possibility. The real issue is that first Swedish match. I suspect the Irish fans will fill 70,000 of those 80,000 seats, and the noise will be terrific. And it's going to give the team everything they need. The fans will have done their bit. It's up to them after that.
That's what we need. Perfect. Words of wisdom from all of you. Owen Corrie, Stephen Elliott and Roddy Collins. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.